Hey, Reggie Rivers here with the virtual gala team, and want to give you just a simple primer on how to make your virtual background in Zoom look just a little bit better. Now, I want to stipulate, I'm not a photographer, I'm not a videographer, I'm not an expert in lighting, I'm not an expert on any of this technical stuff, but I figured out a couple of things, and this is just for the novice user of Zoom. You're going to be doing a fundraising presentation or gala, virtual gala, and you just want to look a little bit better when you're on the air. Here are a couple of tips that can help you with that. So I'm at my house right now, but I am not sitting in front of a bookcase. I am sitting in front of a green screen, and this is a virtual background. So I'm going to change to a different background. Take you back in the day when I was fit and fun. Yes, back in my Broncos days, right? So I'm sitting in front of, I'm sitting with a virtual background. So you've seen people on virtual backgrounds, and it can look terrible sometimes. It looks very two-dimensional. They're blending in with the background. When they move around, the background is like getting dragged behind them. It's all pixelated. What is the difference? Why does mine look light and well lit, and it looks like, if I didn't tell you, you might think that I was sitting in my own house? Why does it look like that? Well, I'm going to show you some very simple changes you can make to make your green screen look a little bit better, or not your green screen, but your virtual background look just a little bit better. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to turn off a couple of lights here. All right, let me turn that off, and let me turn this off. Okay, and so then I'm going to take my computer, I'm going to walk around with it. So I'm now walking around, and you can see that the bookcase stays behind me because the computer understands that I want this virtual background behind me. And so it's trying to figure out, well, where should it go? And so right now, if I put my hand up, you can see that my hand is like disappearing because the screen can't tell, well, where's Reggie and where's the background? I'm just standing in the middle of the room. My hand up here, if I go backward past my head, when I get 6 inches past my head, my hand starts to disappear. So the computer is trying to put this background, this bookcase background, behind my head, but it can't quite tell where my head ends and where the background begins. And so if I put my head back, I can poke myself through the background there. So I can instantly improve that by simply standing in front of a wall. Okay, so I'm now standing in front of a wall. I'm about 6 inches from this wall. And so it's already just a little bit better than when I was standing out in the middle of the room. And I have a white wall here. What if I stand in front of the white wall? So a white wall is even a little bit better. So it's easy for the computer to say, oh, I see that white wall behind you. I'll use that as the background. And so all of a sudden, I'm not so pixelated. I don't disappear so easily. I can put my hand up, and my hand doesn't disappear quite so easily. So that's step one. Get yourself in front of a wall. That will help your computer know where the background is. All right, so let's move back over here. What else can you do? Well, you see everybody gets on their calls, and it looks about like this. You say, hey, hi there, I'm Joe Blow, and I'm involved. I want to tell you about what I'm doing. And everybody is looking down at their computer. So you want to lift your computer up. I've just got a couple of little boxes here. I just put them under my laptop, and then I tilt it forward a little bit so that I'm looking direct. It's not, the camera's not quite at my eye level, but it's close. It's probably at my nose level. Let me plug in my computer here so my battery doesn't die. So the camera is about even with my nose. And so that's a little bit better. Okay, so now I'm not standing right in front of a wall anymore. I was over there, I was like 6 inches from a wall. Now I'm back in my chair, and the wall is 4 feet behind me. Now watch what happens to my hand as I go backward. My hand disappears before I touch the wall. So the computer is trying to say, where should the background be? I have this bookcase, I want to put it in there. I know that Reggie's in front of this bookcase, but it can't quite tell where that bookcase is. I can make it easier by moving closer to that wall. So if that was my only choice, I would put myself a little bit closer to the wall so that it can really see that, hey, that's where the background should be. And that helps with its clarity. But I don't want to be that close to the wall. I want to be 4 feet from the wall. And so Zoom has a feature. I'm actually not, I'm sitting in front of a green screen now. Let me just show you. This is my green screen. So Zoom says, if you sit in front of a green wall and you tell me that you're sitting in front of a green wall, then I will treat the color green as the background and everything else is the foreground. All right, so I'm sitting in front of a green screen, and so I'm going to go to I click on the little up arrow next to the stop video button, and then I choose virtual background, and then you'll see a little box down at the bottom that says I have a green screen. So I click that button, and I'm going to choose my background again. And all of a sudden, life has gotten easier for Zoom. Zoom says, okay, you've told me that you have a green screen. I now know that that green color is where the background goes. Everything else is in the foreground. So if I reach back, my hand doesn't disappear. I can touch that green screen, and because the computer knows that's where the image goes, and Reggie is in front of it. And so you can tell I'm much more 3D compared to the way that I was when I was standing out in the middle of the room and it was all pixelated. All right, so that's 3 things that we've done here. We are not out in the middle of a room. We are in front of a wall. That wall is green, and we've told the computer that that wall is green, to look for that green color. The next thing is lighting, right? So ideally, you want to have 3 lights. You want to have what's called your key light that is just in front of you. And this light is, let me get my tape measure out. This light is 3 feet in front of me. And then I have my other light that is, if I can hold up this tape measure. This light is 5 feet off to my right. So I'm going to turn on this light. This is my key light. Okay, so we'll see. That's pretty bright, makes a difference. All right, now let's turn on, I'm going to turn on my fill light. And what just came on was my hair light. So if you look up there, you see I have a light up there that shines directly down on the top of me. And so that light helps to define my head and my shoulders. And so all of a sudden, I look like I'm separated from the background, right? Me and the background are not on the same plane. This is definitely a 3D image. And if you're just looking at it casually, it looks like I'm in my house sitting in front of a bookcase. It's not perfect. A professional would do some other things to really make this look perfect and not make it look like I'm on a green screen at all. But for us novices, these little tips will help you look better. So don't be sitting in the middle of a room. Sit with your back to a wall. If you have a green screen, and it doesn't have to be fancy. Let me turn off my green screen button for a moment. Turn that off and get rid of that. And let me just show you, it could be anything. You go get a piece of green construction paper, or you could get a green sheet. Anything that's in this kind of fluorescent color of green will work, and you put it up on a wall, and then you tell your computer that, hey, look for that green screen. That's what I want you to put my background on. All right, so that's a simple thing, and then make sure that you're lit. You want to have at least 2 lights on the front of you, the front and kind of the side. And if you can find a way to put a light over your head that's out of the frame of your video, then that's awesome, because that really helps define you to make it easier for the computer to see where you end and the background begins. All right. That's just a little simple primer on how to look a little bit better when you're using Zoom's virtual backgrounds.